go, and we have a Shaman Mirror to lead off our finals. I need to swap these names around a moment. Bear with me. Alright, so looking like an aggro variation coming from Naivo.
Greetings, friend.
But I can't squelch him. It looks like a more mid-range variation coming from Dayum. So that's a pretty good start for Naivo. Getting those 3-1s down. Doesn't have anything to power him up too much. And no Totem Golem to follow up though. But as the aggressor, using that ancestral knowledge, he'll be able to push damage. Yeah, it's going to ignore that 1-1 and just try and squeeze out as much damage as possible before the Totem Golem starts doing some work on them. So from Dayum's side, he's locked out by 1. But he can... Well, he can clear one of the Trogs. Flame Juggler doesn't really do much apart from just develop a body. Or he could go for the Rock Biter instead and clear both of them. I think I prefer that. Just goes for the Totem. And Totem is going to serve him well. So not much options with 1 mana for Naivo. Gets a steady shot though, so can definitely push a lot of damage. Could have went for the Fire Blast instead. Start pinging down these minions, but as the aggressor, he's going to want to deal as much damage as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to give Dayum any time at all. And the 5/5 taunt will come down, which is a bit tricky to deal with at this point. There is abusive Argent Horse Rider to deal with it, but it's a very vulnerable board with no lightning storms. Oh, he doesn't go for it. I like this. Wait a little bit patiently. He's at 24. No need to commit the taunt just yet. The combination of these two cards is going to allow this 5/3 to trade into the Totem Golem. And develop the Argent Squire on the opposite side so he gets that buff. Right now there isn't enough power on board to deal with the Flame Tongue Totem, but a Rock Biter is in the hand, so he does have an option to get rid of it if he feels it's a threat. I guess you could go for Totem, Rock Biter into Thing from Below. Get a 5/5, an additional Totem, clear the Flame Tongue, and you can clear the Abusive Sergeant as well.
Did you bring some fish?
So now a Flame Tongue Totem on the opposite side from the Tuskar Totemic. The 1/1 can deal with the other Argent Squire, but he's going to use both the Argents, the Horse Rider and the Squire. Potentially the Squire to his horse. Drop a Sentinel. Not resetting any crystals, but just getting a body down to fight on the board. So popping all these Divine Shields just to drop the Lightning Storm. Can still Totem and play Thing from below if he wants. But goes for the Juggler instead just to get some more power down. And now things are looking in Dayum's favour, on board at least. Naivo gets a 7-7, but still has to punch through a 5-5 taunt. And he hasn't really pushed the damage he would have wanted to add the aggressor in this matchup. And Harrison Jones is just sneakily sitting in Dayum's hand waiting for that Doomhammer to come down. And this might spell the end of Naivo's run, but he picks up the Doomhammer. So we can Eternal Sentinel into Doomhammer. But I think once that gets taken out by Harry, we're going to see a Conceit come down.
Well played.
That belongs in a museum. Oh no, Blood... It doesn't even reveal it. Bloodlust off the top will win him the game. So the more mid-rangey Shaman takes the win over the aggressor. And Dayum takes a 1-0 lead in the Shaman mirror. So I think maybe Naivo needed to be a little bit more aggressive to play to the style of his archetype. He chose Steady Shot as well, so he didn't really get opportunities to push for that damage. But he has to play the aggro Shaman again, so it's not being taken out by the Conquest format just yet. The mid-range Shaman from Dayum is obviously out, so now we have to see what other decks he has. We've seen Naivo's pilot a few decks. He had the Patron Warrior, I believe, the aggro Shaman. I'm just looking at my list. I can't remember what the last class. It might have been Cafoon Priest the way I've written this, but maybe not. We'll have to see. And players can change their decks in between rounds, so if they have been on stream, if they want to mix things up and try not to let in the people who do their research by watching get an upper hand, they can just switch them up if they feel comfortable. But we're going into game number 2 now. And the aggro Shaman returns, going against a Paladin, and it's looking like the ever popular Nozoff Control Paladin. So some pretty heavy hitters in the hand of Dayum. You're going to want to mulligan them away. Might keep the Forbidden Healing if he felt like he needed a burst heal at some point. But mulligans everything. Has a lease in this deck, so has a little bit more weight in the control mirror. And the Harvest Golem will provide some stickiness to the board and maybe allow some good trades. Always a good start for those Shamans. That Totem Golem. There is a coin True Silver waiting in the back, so that Totem Golem will be dispatched of in the near future.
It's getting hot in here.
And the perfect fireball from the Flame Juggler, allowing him to push face. I'll be surprised if we don't see coin True Silver at this point. If you develop Harvest Golem alone can't do enough. And then next turn you get to play a Lease. And a Lease can challenge the Flame Juggler if you don't want to use the True Silver champion. So Foul Spirits is probably going to come down just to try and block out one of those True Silver hits. And Abusive is going to push some more damage.
Do you have the artifact?
There was maybe... I think you could have maybe went for Doomsayer there to soak up damage. But Elise is probably going to 2-for-1 unless she gets taken out by, say, a Lightning Bolt or a Rock Biter. But then that's like a Lightning Bolt and a Rock Biter not going to your face. And there we go. So lightning bolt, and the abuse is going to take it out. If you left that Elisa up, it would just ruin your board. So now this might be the opportunity to Doomsayer. Doomsayer into Harvest Golem. Do you get 2-1 after? And if they do clear the Doomsayer, you set up Pyro Consecration for next turn, which at the moment clears everything on board.
Wonder.
Must move quickly. Follow the rule.
So gonna even reduce the Tunnel Trog to try and let this Doomsayer survive. I mean, the contingency plan here is if the Doomsayer doesn't do its job, you have the Pyro Consecration to back it up. So the thing with Doomsayer here, it does one of two things. It either soaks up a lot of damage, and then you just Pyro Consecrate next turn, or it goes through and it clears the board, and then you have that for later. So there we go. You've soaked up a lot of damage there as the Paladin with that Doomsayer. And now the Pyro will do its job, and the Elder Peacekeeper staying around allows for a full clear. Now the Aggro Shaman is left with a 7/7, which he top deck, and then an Eternal Sentinel to reset his Overload Crystals. But before then, it was looking pretty bleak.
See what is to come.
But Keeper of Alderman's going to be able to sort out this 7/7 without too much trouble. And picking up Forbidden Healing as well is going to make the life of Dayum so much easier. Because whenever he feels under threat, especially in the late game, he can just drop 10 mana on a full heal. Oh, if this Lava Burst comes down, I think a Forbidden Healing is going to follow. Yep. Taken down to 7. Forbidden Healing back up. And going to be able to clear the board as well without too much trouble. And this might just be a concede from Naivo. He is top decking with an aggro deck. Well, that's not a good top deck. See, Rockbiter is a glimmer of hope, because if you draw Doomhammer in the next turn or two, you could potentially push enough damage, but with that Acidic Swamp Ooze in hand, it's looking pretty bleak at the moment. So the 1/1 can get cleared up by the 2/1. Solomon's Vigil for free. See what you find.
Will destroy you.
Oh, goes for the Vigil first, doesn't bother clearing. Oh, could even Keeper of Alderman, the 2/1, keep it around. I don't mind that at all. But there's a consideration of another 7/7. But can you even handle that? I think you can at this point. If a 7/7 comes down, you've got so many resources. Yeah, that's not the draw. Spell Power Totem into Abusive? I mean, that totem's not sticking around. I wouldn't kid yourself. Because it's just going to get Kodoed. But actually, I would just prefer Kane at this point. Kane, Hero Power, clear out the totem.
Earth Mother.
I could even go for Acolyte. Acolyte's great as well. Get some more draws.
That was a mistake.
The problem is now Naivo is just kind of taking this game out, dragging this game out because he's using his removal, well, his damage spells as removal. He's never gonna gain board pressure back.
By the holy light! Reporting for duty.
There's no way Naivo can never get board back. Even if he picked up Elemental Destruction, the second piece of Cane is gonna stick around.
You win this.
And there we go. So Dayum takes a second win with his Control Paladin. So only one more win needed for Dayum to become the GosuCup HCT 6 winner. Take away those 3 HCT points. But, you know, Naivo could still come back. That aggro shaman hasn't really got him much mileage so far. But maybe you can find a win with it. You might just switch things up now. I remember him running Zulok, actually, now that I think about it. So, maybe switch to Zulok. Try and see if he can get a win with that. But we're not sure what Dayum's last class is. It might just be a deck that stomps the rest of Naivo's lineup, or maybe Naivo's lineup stomps that last deck. And it looks like it's going to be Miracle Rogue, I can imagine. Yep, this is looking very Miracle to me. And Naivo going to go with that Shaman again and see if he can get that win. Not a bad hand there for Naivo. Gets that Tunnel Troll. Could potentially just throw away the other stuff to try and find that Totem Golem, and things would look pretty perfect. I wonder what he's considering. Yeah, I like that. Just throw it all away. There we go. That's what you were looking for. Totem Golem. You can even go Tunnel Troll, Coin, Argent Squire now into Totem Golem.
The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine.
Dayum is a chatty one.
God, Lord!
Ooh, so Falnos Backstab. That's a thing.
Greetings, friend.
Falnos Backstab is an answer. Could wait till next turn. Just play the daggers this turn. And next turn you can play Deadly Poison and Falnos Backstab if you need to kill, say, another Trog. But Falnos Fan of Knives is like a totem clearer. That's another thing to consider when choosing to play Falnos or not. I guess another thing Falnos does do, unless it gets Earthshocked, is it will knock off that totem. Not totem, divine shield, sorry.
The elements will destroy you.
So Totem Golem probably going to come down. There we go. Gets a cycle. Falnos has done his job for the day. So going to fan this turn. So fan sets up a Deadly Poison next turn, which is pretty nice. There's Leroy. So this is the Leroy variation of Miracles. It's not the Malagos. Might see Abusive, but it looks like he's just gone for Totem. Oh, it wasn't the Taunt Totem. Taunt Totem would have been pretty nasty. So once again, Naivo's kind of being handled. That's a pretty good pickup. Blade Flurry is not a concern anymore since the nerf.
Don't worry, loves. The cavalry's here.
But decides to stay a bit more mana efficient and not overload himself for next turn, and just pushes that damage. So another fan of knives is really needed here. Another Cold Blood. So now Leroy Cold Blood, Conceal is a potential out. So can Dayum race the aggro shaman at this point? With Lava Burst in hand and an Ancestral Knowledge, it could be very tough. But that all depends on what Naivo decides to do with his Lava Burst. He might use it to take out the Azure Drake. We'll have to see. Decides to go for the abusive kill to protect his Azure Drake. So just demanding a little bit extra. Those Spirit Wolves are going to make things very difficult for this rogue. It's not much more damage that Dayum can tank. Gonna Shiv first, maybe find another fan of knives. Well, there's prep. I'm not sure what prep can really do at this point. So dagger up Deadly Poison to clear one of the wolves. Clear the second wolf with the Azure Drake. Puts you down to 12. And there is 8 damage in hand and on what will be left on board. So still a little bit more damage needed from Naivo to close out the game, but that's not hard with an Ancestral Knowledge. Oh, is that going to be it? 4, 7. Yep, that's lethal. Just making sure. Oh wow, that's lethal. That's 7 plus 5, right? So, unless my maths is terrible at this hour, he just missed lethal. He just gave Dayum a chance. It's a very slim chance at that. Double prep isn't going to be the winning draw. So you can't even Leroy it and give him 1/1s at this point.
So many. I get.
Yep, and that is a concede coming from Dayum. Had a really clunky hand to handle that aggro shaman. So a win comes down for Naivo. He did miss lethal there, but he still got the win anyway. The rogue didn't have what he needed to come back in that game. So the rogue might be matched up against the Zulok and the Patron Warrior, I believe, if Naivo is stuck to the classes that he had before. But we've had an awesome variety of decks in this tournament today. Considering we've only had 6 matches, the amount of decks we've had is just great. While we're waiting, I could go through some of them. So we've had like a few variations of Mid Shaman. We had Aggro Shaman as well. We've had Cafoon Reno Lock, Combo Reno Lock, Freeze Mage, a lot of Nozoth Paladin, Pirate Warrior. We've had 2 Control Priests as well, 2 Miracle Rogues, a Death Rattle Rogue, a Cafoon Mid-Range Warlock come from Xello. We've had Zoo, we've had Cafoon Priest, Patron Warrior and Temple Warrior, so no Control Warrior at the moment. But we've had a nice variety. I like the way Standard is right now. So we are into the next game. Naivo's opening hand is a nice curve, so he's just going to hold on to that. Backstab coming in Dayum's opening hand, that's always great. Shiv Eviscerate, not the best. Coin, being on the coin for the rogue is super important. It allows a cheap combo at the start. Being able to SI7 quite early is also very powerful. Direwolf Alpha is probably going to eat an SI7. Unless you backstab Coin Van Cleef. And this will put it just out of range of Power Overwhelming. He'll need an Abusive Sergeant as well if he wants to clear it. I guess the only issue here is now the Void Walker does protect this Count Summon. You do need an extra spell, but the body is just going to come down. This Van Cleef poses a threat on its own. So the only active minion on board for Naivo is now this Darkshire Count Summon. And this is a valuable free drop for the Zoo player. He throws an Overwhelming at it, which he doesn't need to. He gets the buff from the Possessed Villager. Oh, going for the value trade. He ain't afraid of Van Cleef. Fan of Knives, if it stays in the hand, will do a lot of damage to that Forbidden Ritual. So now Tomb Pillager can come down. I guess Van Cleef just deals the Darkshire Footman. So even though the Darkshire Footman went for value against the SI7, he wasn't keeping the buff of the Abusive Sergeant. So that makes things a little awkward. So is it Argus time? Yep, goes for the Argus instead of the Ritual. The Ritual would have just ate a Fan of Knives. That wouldn't have been pleasant. So this hand is really shaping up to look good for Dayum. He has Gadgets on, he has a coin, he has Conceal. Ooh, could go for Knife Juggler. Forbidden Ritual and try and get 2 daggers. But goes for the second Power Overwhelming. And that's both of them gone now. So Leroy's and an Abusive. So the only burst Leroy has now is the second Abusive. So the reach of this Warlock's instant damage has been cut down so much because the Warlock's been fighting for board very heavily. But Gadget and Coin Conceal be very powerful this turn.
I got the best deals anywhere.
So now Forbidden Ritual comes down. It could take out the Gadget-san. The likelihood of it taking out the Gadget-san is quite in favour of Naivo. But he could have tapped first. He's only ever going to get 5 minions from this regardless. Oh. Gadget-san lives! Oh, Fan of Knives is going to be absolutely brutal. And he's going to get all the card draw from it. Prep Fan. Start things off. If he draws Azure Drake, that would have been perfect. 7 mana left to use. Goes for a Cold Blood, picks up a second Cold Blood. Oh man, there's a lot of damage going to the face. Into the Eviscerate. SI7 picked up the top to clear out that Knife Juggler. And now 12 damage is going to face. And the only answer Naivo has to this Gadget-san right now is Leroy Jenkins.
Incredible.
Yep, Leroy into Gadget-san. That is the play.
protects me.
But that is going to be game, as Dayum has his own Leroy Jenkins to answer with, along with a Deadly Poison and a Shiv to back that up. And that is a concede coming down from Naivo. And Dayum is your GosuCup HCT 6 champion. And he'll be going home with 3 HCT points. And Naivo will walk home with 2, coming in second place. So that wraps up the GosuCup for this evening. Thank you very much for sticking around and waiting for the grand final. And it's been a very enjoyable tournament. A lot of variety of decks. A lot of good matches with good play. So until next week, I'm going to be signing off now, and I hope you enjoyed your time watching this show. So until the next GosuCup, which will be next week, I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.